Hi everyone, I want to talk about what to do when another woman sees you as a rival, whether she's a contemporary of yours, whether she's younger, whether she's older, whether she's your boss or not. Now, this is such a tricky situation, and I've had to deal with it many times, including very recently, where a client of mine hired a younger person who is brilliant, but she was very threatened by me. It was her first law firm job, and I don't think that she saw my institutional knowledge and knowledge of the industry as a plus. She saw me as a threat, especially as a consultant, someone who could potentially take the spotlight off of her or put her job in jeopardy. And so I wound up not being able to work for that organization anymore, and it was really upsetting because I loved what I did there, but she did not want me to succeed, and she was on the inside and I wasn't. And I've also been pretty vocal about a boss that I had who was a former colleague of mine, a contemporary, someone who was at my level, at the director level, who got promoted to my boss. And I was actually okay with it because she had a ton of strengths that I did not. And I thought I could really learn from her. But she saw me as a threat, even went as far to give me negative performance evaluations all of a sudden and tell me that there was room for only one, quote unquote, pretty smart blonde. I was blonde then. I mean, for real. I wound up being forced out of that firm, having to resign, and she actually came to my departure party, which is the icing on the cake of that situation. So what do? How do you manage these relationships? How do you show these women that you're not a threat to them? And how do you mitigate this and stop it from snowballing? Well, listen, there are not a ton of things you can do when somebody thinks you are a threat to them. If they are motivated by jealousy or insecurity, this is all about them. And no matter how kind you are, inclusive, giving them compliments, it oftentimes doesn't really make a difference, because if they see you as a rival and a threat, that's it. Your days are numbered. So watch your back with them. I mean, I can tell you to kill them with kindness, but it's also really tough to do because it can also kind of drive you insane to do that when you know that this person is plotting against you, or maybe you don't. Sometimes I've been stabbed in the back by people who I thought were my friends and my colleagues, and it happens so suddenly. And other times, because you'll see yourself being left out of things, or them having their own sort of group, or you'll hear things that only they knew were passed on to somebody else. So it's really tricky to manage relationships with women in general. I would just say stay above the gossip, stay above it, try not to let it bother you, do the best job you can. And when your spidey sense and your intuition kicks in that this person is actually out to get you, you may want to go elsewhere, because nobody deserves to have that kind of garbage in their lives and be singled out and treated like this. So I would love to tell you that this doesn't exist in another workplace, but it probably does. And so I think just staying below that radar is going to be key, but also just know that the problem isn't you, very likely not you. It is all about the other person and their vantage points and their insecurities and their jealousy. So I'd love to know what you've done in a similar situation, and we'll be covering this in Women Who Wow soon.